Good morning, my love. So welcome back. So today we are talking about synastry again. And today is a special episode because we're talking about the nodes. And I call it a special episode because the nodes in synastry, the nodes in general, are very important in the chart when we look at where we come from and where we're going in this physical reality, right? But in a relationship, I find it even more interesting because seeing where we came together, where we can go together, right? Where we can go, not where we will go, but where we can go together. It's really beautiful to see. I love looking at the nodes in a composite chart and a synastry chart because it tells me a lot about the karmic contract of this couple. Now, remember, just as a reminder, the South Node is the energies that we are very comfortable with, right? The energies that we came with, the energies that we are holding within us, the energies that are manifest, right? They are manifested, they are there. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to work hard to do something with those energies. They are just, it just is. It's our comfort zone. We easily fall back into them. But the North Node is where it's at, right? Because the North Node is where we are, what we are growing into, what is possible to unfold and possible to be manifested in this lifetime. We're talking about the nodes of the moon. So we're talking about unconscious patterns within us, unconscious energetics that often show up through our feelings and emotions, the way we emotionally react to something, the way we emotionally move forward. So emotions are a big part of the nodal complex, right? But at the same time, the nodes also have to do with the sun in the broader context. Even though they are the nodes of the moon, they still relate to consciousness, right? Becoming more conscious because of the way we calculate them. Anyways, now, when it comes to relationships and the nodes, what we can see is that depending on where our North Node and South Node falls in our partner's chart, or vice versa, we can see what we are learning together, where we are moving towards together, or what the other person can help us with. Where can the other person help us and how do we help them? Now, with the North Node in the first house, the partner's first house, and the South Node in the partner's seventh house, we are very comfortable with the other, right? We are really comfortable in relationship settings. We're really, relationship settings are a comfort zone for us. However, in this relationship, we are learning to get to know our own identity on a different level. Because the house person holds the idea, the concept, and the topic of identity and direction. The North Node will most likely, through the relationship, understand on a deeper level what their direction is and who they actually are, right? So there might be identity shifts, big identity shifts in this relationship, where you thought you were one person when you started the relationship, but very quickly realized that, oh, I'm shifting big time in this relationship. Big time. I'm learning something that I've always been really uncomfortable with. I'm learning it through this relationship. And it shows itself in a very obvious way for both people and for the world to see. The people that you meet, you know, people will notice your changes because they're going to be very obvious. Everything in the first house is very open. It's like an open book, and you see the pages clearly laid out. You can read it clearly. So the shifts and changes might also be very public. And by public, I'm not saying public as in the newspaper is going to write about it, but they will be out in the open. You will be very open about those shifts and changes as well. You will not hide those shifts and changes. And you will also very likely be very open about the difficulty that you had to overcome to make the change and shift. Do the identity work. Identity work is probably the phrase that I would use for this particular setting. And again, both people will do identity work. The North Node person it's always hard to say, but it's very likely that the North Node person will feel it stronger, having to do the work, but the house person will also, because they will absorb that energy, right? It's like they now all of a sudden have a North Node in their first house. They didn't have that before, right? Maybe they did. Maybe they also have their North Node in the first house. That is, of course, a possibility. But now someone brought the North Node there. And the North Node is like, okay, direction. What direction are we going? So the house person will also ask themselves, what is actually my direction? Where am I going? Where are we going? Like, what is this relationship doing with me? Is it changing me on a fundamental level? Is it changing me just on the outside? You know, what layer am I taking off? Am I taking off a layer? When it comes to my personality, my identity, am I identifying differently now? Like with everything first house, and I know I also say that about the 12th house and the 8th house and the 6th house, but this is just difficult. This is really just when a partner's node, point, planet is showing up in our first house, we are dealing with identity shifts. And they can be very tricky because it looks like that they are just an outer layer, but they go deep. They usually go really deep, even though it just looks like that it's just the facade, but it is usually much more than that. Now, the North Node, the partner's North Node in the second house, well, I find that always relatively easy to uncover what is happening when anything comes into the second house. It is usually worth and value, right? And when it comes to the North Node, there is like, you know, learning involved, like big lessons. We got to get comfortable with something that we are not comfortable with. So when it comes to the second house, value my own, the way I value myself, the worth I actually feel inside, what I believe I'm worth, what I believe I can have, what I believe I can manifest in this life. Money, big money stuff coming up for both people. You know, we will work together on the bigger money questions. What are we worth? What are my money issues? What is my money mentality? What is my money mindset? Those are going to be the harder lessons to learn. And again, like, it's the North Node, so we are really uncomfortable with it, and we will feel triggered. We will feel very triggered. And because, remember, the South Node is in the 8th, what is very likely to happen here is a lot of projection, and we will have to learn that, you know, much of that is our own stuff, the projected stuff, right? Where we're like, oh, you're like this and you're like that, and why are you having such problems with money, and why are you not spending money on me, and why da. It's like, well, what does it have to do with you? What's inside? What's actually going on within you? Where are you not feeling worthy? And then your partner shows you you're not worthy by not buying you flowers, or by not whatever it is, and you feel like, oh, you're not buying me flowers, why are you not buying me flowers? This is just a simple example, but usually there's the bigger stuff coming up here, because what we are supposed to learn with the North Node in general is to become comfortable with the next level. There's sometimes what I see here is play pretend, because with the South Node in the 8th house, we believe we are able to go very deep. We think like, oh, you know, I've been doing my inner work. I've been working on all that stuff. You know, I've cleaned out the skeletons in my closet. I know. And then we meet that partner and they show us, well, really? How comfortable are you? And maybe are you just hiding in it? Are you just hiding in your inner work? Are you playing pretend? Are you really going that deep? How deep have you really gone? Have you just pushed certain things to the side and then you went somewhere else and you're hiding in your, you know, rabbit hole? Because that can happen, right? Like we're going down the rabbit hole just to hide. So we don't really have to deal with it. We say like, oh yeah, I'm going down the rabbit hole because I want to learn and understand and I want to do the deeper work. But am I just hiding in it? And I see this a lot when it comes to actually astrology or human design. People are really getting into it. It's like, oh, I want to uncover my human design, I want to uncover my astrology chart. But you're not really doing the work. You're kind of just using this to say, oh, look, I understand myself now. It's almost like you're using it as a shield. With the South Node in the 8th house, we can often use it as a shield and saying, well, look, I'm doing my work. But do you really? In this relationship, this question will come up sooner or later. Now, the North Node in the 3rd house, in the partner's 3rd house, is a North Node that will bring up stuff from the past, from the childhood, because we're relating here to conditioning, early life conditioning. Sibling stuff will come up, and even if you don't have siblings, right? Like stuff that with immediate family members can trigger things in the relationship that then help you grow and evolve. Because again, North Node is all about evolving into the higher version of yourself, the next version of yourself in this lifetime, in this physical reality. But also communication, you know, really truly opening up, really communicating. Okay? Communication is a big topic for this couple, where a lot of triggers will be tickled. So we might, again, this is like where we like to hide ourselves in the intellect, in the higher, what we consider our higher intellect, right? Also academic, like this is where we can hide in the academic approach, where we, you know, we're so smart, we know so many things, but we don't know basic communication. We know all the bigger stuff, right? We're very intelligent, and we studied, and we have a bachelor, and then we have a master in this and a PhD in that, but we don't know how to communicate on a very basic level. And so that will be triggered. Again, we like to hide on the other side. Running away, I see that a lot too. We are running away from the things that might have hurt us very early on in life. We are running away, and we try to find ourselves in different cultures and different places. But eventually we'll still have to deal with that stuff, right? The basic stuff. And again, through communication, a lot will be uncovered within the relationship. Now, North Node in the 4th house, it's also very, very clear manifestation here, because we're dealing with family stuff, ancestry, like ancestors, like our family line. We will have to look at it. We often like to hide in the South Node in our work, right? We have so much work. Oh my God, we have so much work. We're so busy, so busy. But the work needs to be done at home. Yeah, that's where the work needs to be done in this relationship. And you need to stop hiding in your work or your career. Then North Node in the 5th house, partner's 5th house. Where we often like to hide here is in all the humanitarian work. We are out there. We're helping the people. You know, we like to hide in that. We are trying to portray the aura of we are the good one. We are good people. We are such a good person. We are so good. We are so good. We're doing everything for everyone. We're helping humanity. We're helping our friends. We're helping in the community. But what about the more personal side of us? Our creativity, our creative self-expression, and children. How do we feel about them? Do we have them? Do we not have them? If we have them, how do we relate to them? As a couple, issues that can arise here are around children and the creative process, but also fun. And we're talking about fun in the broader sense, as in having a good time, enjoying life, right? Enjoying life. And actually enjoying life from that creative place, from this heart-centered place, right? We're talking about the 5th house, we're talking about Leo, we're talking about the heart-centered. Are we truly heart-centered when we are hiding over there? Are we just trying to appear to be a good person? Not saying you're not a good person. That's not what I'm saying, but you know, what are you hiding? Where are you hiding? Are you hiding from yourself? That will show up in that relationship. That will show up in that relationship. That relationship will show you where you're hiding from yourself, from your true self, from your heart center. Also, like fun in the bedroom can be a big topic here. Or when we talk about fun, or maybe there is no fun. Maybe it just feels like a deed you do. North Node in the 6th house. That is also very challenging North Node, and North Node in the partner 6th house, because here we are dealing with service, right? Being of service. What does that mean? What does it mean for us? Where are we being of service? Where do we want to be of service? And how do we live together on a day-to-day basis? Do we have the same idea of living together on a day-to-day basis? Or are we hiding in our spirituality? Are we actually living in the real world, or are we hiding in the spiritual world? In the so-called spiritual world? Because sometimes we just go there and hide because we don't want to deal with the real world. And that's when issues show up, and also health issues. This can be something where either of the partners shows the issue, the personal issue, that is also the relationship issue, because it becomes the relationship issue, in form of an illness, an ailment, mentally, emotionally, or physically. What is our real issue here? What are we not dealing with? What are we not looking at? What are we denying ourselves and the partnership? Now the North Node in the 7th house. Now we are reversing it. And we looked at it the other way around earlier. Now, when we have the North Node in the 7th house, we are not as comfortable in relationships. This relationship might feel really uncomfortable in a way. Maybe not in a very obvious way, but there's a discomfort where it's like, am I losing my freedom? Where's my freedom? What happened to my freedom? Do I feel free? Do I still feel like myself? Where am I going? Where are we going? I thought I knew where I was going. Now I'm not sure anymore where this is going. Am I still me in this relationship? And how can I be myself fully in the relationship? That's something you're learning. 8th house North Node, meaning North Node in the partner's 8th house, is a North Node that feels very comfortable in the mundane world, but has a very difficult time to go deeper. And that's what you will learn to do in this partnership, doing the deeper work, like peeling the layers, the uncomfortable layers. They need to be peeled off in this relationship. And we can't hide behind, oh, let's buy this, let's buy that. Oh, he just bought me a new car, or he did this for me. Oh, you know, now I don't have to deal with all the other stuff I don't like. You will be constantly triggered in that direction where you have to uncover those deeper layers. Do the shadow work. Not deny yourself, your true self. Integrate that stuff. Not an easy North Node to have. Certainly not. North Node in the 9th house. This is a North Node where we are faced sometimes with challenges in terms of religion, where we are also challenged with going out there into the world, right? This might be a relationship where we learn to, or where we open up, or where we are triggered and forced to open up to the world, the bigger picture, the traveling. Maybe you haven't really traveled much. Well, in this relationship, maybe this is going to be a topic. It will show up in one shape or form, that because this is a part in your life that is still holding you back to reach your full potential. Now, you know, maybe you got to travel more to uncover that, to get to know that part of you. Maybe you're very comfortable in where you live, in your surrounding, and maybe your partner came in through that, but now that partner shows you that there's another side. Maybe that partner wants to move to, I don't know, Australia, and you live in Europe, and you're like, what? I don't know, that is just a concept that, you know, is challenging you because you feel so comfortable in where you live. Maybe you have your family there, your siblings, all the people. But what can you learn over there in Australia? You know, what does Australia actually stand for? Opening your horizon, opening up to a different way of being, living, thinking. Those could be triggers. Now, North Node in the 10th, reverse of what we said about the North Node in the 4th. Here we often hide at home. We hide in the family setting. We are not really allowing us to go for what we want in life. Achieve, right? It's the house of achievement, aspirations. Where are we hiding from our own aspirations? This relationship will trigger that in one shape or form. You know, maybe you're forced to stay at home, and then you realize, wait a minute, I don't want that. I don't want to stay at home. I don't want to be stay-at-home mom. Or the opposite could be the case here as well. The idea here is that you understand and learn what you haven't allowed yourself to become yet. Where you're in your comfort zone, where you know, have been in your comfort zone, and now you know, through what is happening in the relationship, you're now triggered to actually allow yourself to grow into what you are meant to grow into, what your soul has chosen for you to grow into in this lifetime. Now, North Node in the 11th house, this is often a relationship or a relationship trigger where we hide in the mundane, in the pleasure. We like to hide in that. And we're not, it's almost like we don't want to grow up. And that will be triggered here. that will be triggered, where one of the partners or both, because you're both dealing with this trigger, don't want to grow up and you want to hide, you want to be a teenager, oh, let me just play a little more, I want to play, just, don't take life so seriously. But you learn that there is seriousness in this 3D reality that is very real, that you can't deny, that you can't ignore, that there is a bigger picture. Yes, you came here to live for yourself, but also not. There is a collective that you are part of. And you will learn this in this relationship. And now our favorite, the 12th house. Whew. The 12th house. Yep, the 12th house, North Node. Well, what are we learning here? We're learning that, yes, we are living in the reality, the real world, the physical world, but we gotta be open and understand that even though we are living on a physical plane on earth, we are still divine spiritual beings. And in this relationship, we will be triggered to become more aware of that and accept it, allow it into our physical reality. This can be a couple where one person is very much at home in the 3D, 9-to-5 life, where there is no room and space for yoga and meditation and all that stuff. That is, what is it? That whatever that is, right? But in this relationship, we will be moving more towards that, and we will move towards that in a way that is generally not gentle. We will be pushed into it, forced into it, sometimes through, physical ailments. Also, remember, the 12th house is not just the house of retreat, where we go on a retreat. It is also the house of hospitals and prisons. So this is a topic here as well. Going away from society to learn something. Again, I'm not saying, I have to keep saying this as a reminder. When I talk about the 12th house and I talk about prisons and hospitals, doesn't mean necessarily that every relationship that has the North Node here or whatever, any point or planet that one of you will have to go to prison. Of course, it doesn't mean that. This is one manifestation, but it is a manifestation, right? And this is going to be true for some of you. Or for some people, maybe not for some of you, but for some people that deal with that. So, yeah, North Node, South Node, big lessons in the relationship, big lessons. If you have any questions about this particular placement, feel free to comment in the comment section. And if you want your own reading, synastry reading, to see where this falls in your chart and your partner's chart, you can click on the link in the description box. If you want to work with me on a coaching basis, you can email me. And other than that, I wish you a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you in the next day.